Well, it's 9 p.m. East African time from wherever you're watching us in Nairobi, Kenya, and around the world. You're in time for KBC Prime Edition. Good evening. My name is Mboya.
My name is Museo. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have a comprehensive bulletin lined up for you, and of course, we've been following up on the top stories that have been making headlines, not just here in Kenya, but around the world.
And here are some of those top stories tonight.
The respondent is granted a conditional bond of Kenya shillings 5 million with one surety of a similar amount. In the alternative, cash bail of Kenya shillings 2 million.
The cost of a loose tongue, Senator Linturi's 2 million cash bail, and MP Richard Onyonka's police statement that set him free.
The never-ending strife in Kerio Valley. 10 schools closed as armed bandits roam the area.
And seeking fidelity to the law, magistrates take oath of office with Chief Justice warning against corrupt practices. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
At KBC Channel 1 News, at Purity_Museo at Mboya24, the hashtag is Prime Edition. Feel free to interact with us. Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter tonight.
Straight to our top story. Meru Senator Mithika Linturi has been released on a 2 million shilling cash bail after spending the last 2 days in police custody over his hate speech remarks in Eldoret. Nakuru Chief Magistrate Edna Nyanoti ordered Linturi not to contact witnesses and report to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, once a week.
At the same time, Kitutu Chache MP Richard Onyonka was set free without any charges being preferred against him shortly after he surrendered himself to the Kisii County DCI headquarters over alleged hate speech. Heart Francis Ben Chumba reports.
Shortly after the Director of Public Prosecutions Nudin Aji ordered the Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutiambai to probe alleged utterances by Kitutu Chache MP Richard Onyonka, the legislator surrendered himself to the Kisii County DCI headquarters on Tuesday. Soon after recording a statement, Onyonka was released without any charges being preferred against him. He was, however, instructed to report to the DCI headquarters in Nairobi, as his lawyers asserted that his remarks did not amount to hate speech or incitement.
There is no hate speech. There is nothing that police need to investigate over a rebuttal or a response to what was clearly provocation of other communities within the Republic of Kenya.
Meanwhile, an activist moved to court seeking to stop the Director of Public Prosecution from arresting, arraigning, charging or prosecuting Onyonka over allegations of hate speech. Through his lawyers, Frederick B. Carey argued that the prosecution of hate mongers lies with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission.
The Director of Public Prosecution cannot order IEBC to investigate an electoral irregularity. Therefore, he can also not order the National Cohesion to investigate that. We hope the judge is going to give directions, and we hope those two letters, one for Linturi and one for Onyonka, will be quashed.
It makes it meaningless to have the commission as we know of it in law. It makes it unnecessary. It in fact renders it a wastage of public resources for us to be funding a commission that does not exercise its powers as is required in law.
And after spending 2 days in police custody, Meru Senator Mithika Linturi was released on a 2 million shillings cash bail over hate remarks he allegedly made in Eldoret.
The respondent to report at the CID headquarters once a week. The respondent's free speech rights are limited, that he should not make any comments on the case under investigations. He should not conduct any witnesses.
The court, however, declined to the prosecution request to detain Linturi for 7 days. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
On to now security matters or lack of it. At least 10 schools have been closed due to the escalating insecurity in Baringo County after learners, teachers and parents fled for safety.
This as residents and education stakeholders in the area called on the government to immediately restore normalcy and stop further disruption of the school calendar.
Zainab Said reports.
Chepkesin Primary School is among the 10 schools that have abruptly closed due to the ongoing banditry attacks in Kerio Valley, Baringo County. The school, which is in Baringo North, is yet to reopen for the third term after learners, teachers and parents took off to save their dear lives.
Nataka niomba serikali ya kwamba watie jitihada ya hali ya juu kuona ya kwamba mashule yote yamefunguliwa na wakora waondolewe. Na askari lazima iwekwe katika hiyo laini.
Naomba serikali watilie maanani na wachukue hiyo maneno mbio mbio ili tupate hata namna ya kuishi hata siku mbili.
Other affected schools in Baringo North are Kisumet Primary School, Kamwetiyo Primary School, Mboya Primary School, and in Baringo South constituency, Laimanywe Primary School, Chepkechir Primary School, Koitilil Primary School and Karne Primary School remain closed due to insecurity.
Sheria ya Kenya inaruhusu Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kulinda kila mtu na mali yake. Na wamama wa Kerio Valley, see, they are not less a human than those other humans wenye hata wako kila mahali hapa nchini Kenya.
Here, the latest attack was on Monday at Laimanywe, where the bandits drove away with a known number of livestock. A situation education stakeholders from the area now wants addressed promptly.
Wamama anabeba mtoto wake miezi 9 tumboni, anamshika miaka 3 kwa miguu, na tunaambiwa moyoni anashika mtoto wake milele. Hawa mama badala ya kushika mtoto wake milele moyoni amemzika kaburini. Naomba hiyo ikuwe mwisho leo. Hatutaki kusikiza, tunataka action.
Kenya National Union of Teachers claiming teachers have withdrawn from the region for their safety.
I want to ask the teachers, and I've repeatedly said this, if your life is in danger, please run for your life immediately.
The border of Elgeyo Marakwet and Baringo County has also witnessed rising cases of insecurity, with over 60 people allegedly killed in the past few months. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
And the contractor of the 29-kilometer Kwale-Kinangop highway is set to appear before the National Development Implementation Technical Committee on Thursday to explain why the project has stalled for 10 months. According to the contractor, who was awarded the 3.07 billion shillings 3-year tender, the machinery imported for the construction works is yet to be cleared from the port of Mombasa. Hence the delay. This emerged during an inspection tour of the local government projects by the National Development Implementation Technical Committee led by Interior PS Karanja Kebicho. And as Juni Karisa reports, the team comprised of all state departments' principal secretaries have pitched camp at the coast for the next 4 days.
On Tuesday morning, the National Development Implementation Technical Committee kicked off its 4-day tour to inspect government projects in Kwale, Mombasa and Kilifi County. The committee's chair, Interior PS Karanja Kibicho, led 10 principal secretaries to inspect the efficiency of the port as well as the newly launched Kipevu terminal. Kibicho notes the government has put the necessary measures to enhance efficiency at the port of Mombasa.
Other than the projects that are ongoing, the brick and mortar, this port is a very important cog in turning the economic development of this country.
The government has embarked on the construction of a second container terminal, now in its second phase, at a cost of 32 billion shillings.
We have our timelines and all of us are in one room. If there is one institution that is making the chain break, then they are in the room and we are able to solve those problems.
Meanwhile, in Kwale, 11 PSs led by Energy PS Gordon Kihalangwa traverse the county, and it is at the Kwale Kinango construction site where the rubber met the road.
If you are going to do 29 kilometers in 3 years, what are you telling me? What? You are engineers.
It is in the document.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Why?
10 months down the line, the contractor was yet to begin construction works, and this was their directive.
Thursday, when we are having the NDITC meeting, the regional manager for Kenya will come and do a presentation of the work plan on how they are going to compensate for the 10 months, which have already elapsed.
At the Technical University of Mombasa, Kwale campus, the task force is proposing the construction of a police post to enhance security in the area, as well as embark on a street light project. The construction of the Mwache Dam is expected to kick off in February. However, compensation works are derailing the process.
We have already paid 75% of those who are supposed to move out. We are only left with the 25%. But all we need for now is what we normally call the critical area.
A similar script played out at the Dongo Kundu project, whose phase 1 failed to commission in December.
Hiyo kazi ya kuweza kufanya hiyo compensation ishaanza, na tunatarajia kwamba kabla ya mwezi wa 4 ama wa 5 ambapo huu mwaka wa financial year unaendelea kuisha, tutakuwa tumetatua.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County for the Prime Edition.
Now, ODM leader Raila Odinga has pledged to strengthen the private sector in a bid to create more employment opportunities for the youth. Speaking in Nairobi when he met youth from Mount Kenya region, the former premier claimed that the ailing economy in the country is as a result of untapped potential in the private sector, promising to seal corruption loopholes if elected president. Timothy Kipnusu reports.
ODM leader Raila Odinga was in Nairobi wooing the youth from Mount Kenya to support his 2022 presidential bid. Raila promising to deal with corruption both in public and private sectors, and that if elected president, he will create a conducive environment for investors in a bid to open up more employment opportunities for young people.
The big problem is bureaucracy, infrastructure, the cost of infrastructure, particularly energy, and then the corruption in our country is the biggest impediment to private sector investment in our country.
The ODM leader at the same time said his government will create a youth fund to enable the young people to borrow money and repay after 7 years.
The Juakali sector, put up proper shades for them to start where they want to start, and also give them access to capital so that they can be able to stage their businesses.
Kwa serikali yake atakuwa na data bank ya vijana. Do you know how important that is? Because atajua each and every one of us where we are located, what are our qualifications.
Leaders who attended the meeting called on the youth to participate in the electoral process to determine their future.
Even if you're not interested in politics, politics is interested in you. Those decisions that the leadership are taking affect you directly as a young person.
Basi tunaamini nyinyi watu wa Kiambu, baba atachukua zote na aweke.
And I know come August the 9th, you are going to make the right choice.
Even as the 2022 political trumpets continues to take shape, ODM party leader and presidential hopeful Raila Odinga is keen on capturing the vote from the youth, bearing in mind they make the largest percentage of the Kenyan population, even as he promises to tap on the blue economy opportunities to create jobs for the youth. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
To the corridors of justice, a petition filed by activist Okia Omtata seeking to block Deputy President William Ruto's bid for the presidency while in office has been transferred from the Constitutional Court to the Employment and Labor Relations Court. In the petition, Omtata warns any public officer, including a sitting deputy president, to vacate office before nomination as a presidential candidate.
Activist Okiya Omtata's petition seeking to have all public offices compelled to vacate office before being nominated as presidential candidates will now be heard at the Employment and Labour Relations Court. According to orders issued by Justice James Makau, the petition, which challenges Section 43 of the Election Act, as read with Article 99 of the Constitution, falls squarely under the jurisdiction of the Employment and Labour Relations Court and not the Constitutional and Human Rights Division. Section 43 of the Election Act requires that a public officer who intends to contest an election under this act shall resign from public office at least 6 months before the date of the election. This section, however, excludes the President, Prime Minister, Deputy President, Member of Parliament, a county governor, a deputy governor, and a county assembly member from this requirement. Activist Okiya Omtata now seeks to do away with the exclusion and require any public officer seeking nomination as a presidential candidate to vacate office 6 months to the election. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, Chief Justice Martha Koome has urged newly sworn-in magistrates to uphold the rule of law and ensure fairness without external interference while discharging their mandate. Koome, who presided over the swearing-in, cautioned the new magistrates against delays, directing them to adapt active case management systems to expedite justice.
I, Lilian Wangari Maina, do swear.
It is during the swearing-in of 64 new magistrates and 19 adjudicators that Chief Justice Martha Koome reiterated that the judiciary will not tolerate corruption, warning that the department will deal swiftly with any claims of impropriety.
We are enforcing a policy of zero tolerance to corruption within the judiciary, and I can assure you there is no sustainability in corruption.
The Chief Justice encouraged the new magistrates and keep up with emerging jurisprudence, cautioning them against being swayed when delivering justice.
Oath that you have taken today be a solemn promise that in the execution of your duties you will exemplify the highest standards of professional and ethical conduct.
The Director, Kenya Judiciary Academy, Smokin Wanjala, urged the magistrates to uphold the oath of office, integrity and impartiality.
Objectives the Constitution envisages a credible and visibly independent, transparent, impartial, neutral, efficient and accountable judiciary.
I implore you to practice accountability, independence and impartiality, for your decisions not only directly affect the lives of the people that appear before you, but also the image of the judiciary.
The new magistrates have been deployed to various stations in the country, including the newly created Small Claims Courts.
It was actually challenging, working at the same time going to school, part-time, university, and later on to Kenya School of Law. But thank God I got admitted, and now I'm an honorable magistrate.
This moment, it is looking forward to serve Kenyans in the dispensation of justice.
64 magistrates and 19 adjudicators have just been sworn in by Chief Justice Martha Koome, which is a big shot in the arm for the judiciary and the country. With a looming pause just less than 7 months away, this team here will be tasked with assisting the judiciary handle the election, petition, adjudication, or even constitutional interpretation that may arise with the general election. For Prime Edition, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Our story brings us to our first break right here on KBC Prime Edition.
Absolutely. We have plenty more to come, including a report where a woman is asking for assistance to raise 11 grandchildren after they were left to her by her children.
Abandoned. Stay with us.
Beacon Furnitures Limited. We're local manufacturers of quality office furniture, dealers in quality office equipment like fireproof safes and cabinets. Our automated state-of-the-art factories at Henna House along Enterprise Road in Nairobi's industrial area. Our showroom is at Uniafrica House, Koinange Lane off Koinange Street. We are passionate believers in locally manufactured goods. When you and I buy locally made furniture, we impact on the livelihoods of our brothers and sisters. For orders, visit our showroom at Uniafrica House, Koinange Lane off Koinange Street. Beacon Furnitures Limited. Jenga Kenya, tupate ajira.
You're watching Prime Edition this Tuesday night. Thank you so much for staying with us. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has dismissed claims that he has joined the One Kenya Alliance, OKA. Muturi, who is eyeing the presidency on Democratic Party of Kenya ticket, says that the party is, however, open to talks and is willing to work with other like-minded parties.
Speaking after a closed-door meeting of the Democratic Party of Kenya National Executive Committee, Muturi dismissed claims that the party had joined One Kenya Alliance. He said that in the event of such decisions, the announcement would be made public by the party officials.
Uvumi unaachwa unakuwa uvumi. Mambo yote ambayo yanafanyika na mtu ambaye anaheshimu demokrasia lazima yapitie kutoka kwa chama na katika the relevant organs of the party. The Democratic Party has always worked with other like-minded parties in the past, and this time around cannot be an exception. And therefore, we as a party are open to working with other like-minded, and this is important, like-minded parties.
This as he maintained he would ensure a Kenya with accountable leaders if elected president.
There must be order and transparency in how we do things in the country. That will bring about greater accountability. I have always, as you know, advocated for accountability among leaders.
This coming as Jubilee women leaders from Nairobi County endorsed Agnes Kagure as their candidate of choice for the governor's seat in the August election.
Na sisi ndio tuliamua tukasema ni Honorable Kagure. Kwa sababu wale watu wote wanasimama, sisi tumewaweka kwa ratili, tumeona ule mtu wako sawa ni Honorable Agnes Kagure.
We know what is good for us and we shall settle for nothing less. No one will dictate to us how to vote come August 2022.
Lakini hakuna kazi.
Meanwhile, Kuria West Member of Parliament Mathias Robi has come to the defense of Deputy President William Ruto of unfulfilled Jubilee campaign promises. While responding to concerns raised by coffee farmers regarding unfulfilled promises by the Jubilee administration, Robi claimed that Ruto's hands had been crippled by the infamous handshake between the president and the ODM leader.
In fact, aliongelea kuhusu kilimo ya kahawa. Wakati aliongelea kilimo ya cha kahawa tuliona kwamba labda tutapona. Lakini wakweli alitupromisi kwamba kuna cooperative alisema Gitungi Bukuria angewapea mashini ya kosi ya kila moja 1.5 each. Lakini ukweli mwaka umeisha mzima hatukuona.
Ile kidogo ambao walikuwa wamepanga zamani ndio imeweza kuonekana. Kwa hivyo sisi hatuwezi mlaumu. Miaka 5 ile ya kwanza 2013 mpaka 17 aliweza kutenda kazi akiwa ofisini.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Kisumu County government will now pursue a leasing arrangement with health equipment providers as they seek to reduce wastage and breakdown of health equipment across the county. Professor Anyang' Nyong'o said residents have in the past missed on key services after key medical equipment broke down. He said on many occasions the equipment are brought without proper service level agreements. Achola Simon with the details.
At the onset of the Jubilee government, county governments across the country entered into lease agreements with health equipment providers in a bid to ensure all counties could afford key medical equipment needed by Kenyans. The aftermath, however, left a sour taste in the county boss's mouth as it emerged that the leasing agreements were not done properly and some counties received equipment that they knew not how to operate.
The way it was done was not proper and it has led to a lot of problems. But the principle of having a lease program for medical equipment is very, very understandable.
Kisumu County Governor Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o is however keen to pursue the model once again, at least for Kisumu County. Nyong'o said in the past, residents have missed out on services after equipment bought without proper repair and maintenance arrangement broke down.
But I also want to caution health workers to take good care of medical equipment and drugs under their care. I want to see them accounting for every single piece of equipment supplied to these facilities.
Nyong'o spoke as he flagged off the distribution of health equipment worth 15 million shillings across the county hospitals. The equipment, mainly used for safe delivery, were purchased through a World Bank grant. Achola Simon, Prime Edition, Kisumu County.
A woman in Nyamangara in Gatundu North constituency, Kiambu County, is pleading for help to raise 11 grandchildren left to her by her sons and daughters last year. Flora Njoki has been struggling to raise the children after their parents went missing and is unable to provide for all their needs owing to her deteriorating health. The 11 are yet to return to school. Have a look. They say children are a blessing. It is the hope that made Flora Njoki, a granny from Nyamangara in Gatundu North constituency, Kiambu County, gladly to accept to take care of her 11 grandchildren despite her struggles to do so.
Watoto ni 11, wanafaa wakule, waelimike, na kwa hizi sasa hivi sina uwezo.
When her son brought them home from Nairobi where they were living, she thought it was going to be another great grandchildren moment.
Wakati bwana yake aliaga, huyu sister yangu hakuna mahali huwa anaenda job, hakuna mahali huwa anafanya kazi.
The son disappeared. He never visits nor receives their calls.
Hii mwaka nimesindwa na sikusindwa kwa njia mbaya, ni kwa vile niligonjeka, na kugonjeka niko na watoto wa 11 na walisa na wanafaa wasome, na kwa miezi 3 hivi wasomi kwa sababu niligonjeka.
The small meals she can afford is not enough for them.
Napatiwa ndizi ni mama, kwa sababu ile pesa niko nayo niende kasi leo na kesho kutwa niweke niwalipie transport.
The children are yet to return to school, a situation that prompted neighbors to take action.
Na tukaona sisi tukiwa watu wa Nyamangara tutasaidiana ndio hao watoto warudi shule, kwa sababu serikali yetu inataka watoto wote wasome.
Jambo ambayo tuliona Facebook jana, watoto ambao wameachwa na mama yake na baba yake, akachua susu yake, na tumekuja kwa sababu ya ile masida iko hapa.
Now, Kenya has in the last 24 hours reported 1,105 cases of coronavirus infection out of 6,945 samples tested. This indicates a positivity rate of 15.9%, which is slightly lower than yesterday's of 20.8%, but still on the double-digit space. The total confirmed cases are now 313,677, and cumulative tests so far are 3,111,402. On a sad note, 8 patients succumbed to the disease, all of them being late deaths reported after conducting facility record audits over the last 1 week. This now pushes the cumulative fatalities to 5,462. Today, 3,320 patients have recovered from the disease, raising their tally to 271,893. Globally, there are 310,645,175 confirmed cases and 5,497,215 deaths from the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak as of the 11th of January 2022. Now, as the country grapples with the huge burden of unemployment among the youth, many have been left with no option but to find alternative ways to survive, which include using their talent to eke a living. Safina Chieng brings you the story of a gifted 23-year-old Tyson Chokwe from Kilifi County who built an automobile from scratch. The young innovator is now calling on well-wishers to support him to further his dream of becoming an engineer.
It's a beautiful sunny day in Kwachokwe village in Tezo ward in Kilifi County. Tyson Chokwe is getting ready for a ride. It's a unique automobile that looks nothing close to the ordinary vehicles plying our roads. It's a masterpiece that has been single-handedly created by Tyson, who named it Universal Version 4. It all started from recycling the engine of an old motorbike and metals, which Tyson skillfully put together to come up with this four-wheel automobile, which carries a maximum of 4 people and can move at a speed of up to 40 kilometers per hour.
Jaribu kutengeneza kwa vifaa vya pikipiki, mchanganyiko wa beskeli, mashini za hata ukata mawe. Kwa ufupi, yani chochote kile ambacho ningeliweza kupata kwa mikono yangu, nitumie ubunifu wangu na nikitumia jinsi ninapotaka mimi mwenyewe.
What amazes many, however, is the fact that Tyson has not acquired any professional training in the field he is venturing in.
Wengi sana wanamshangaa na hajaenda chuo chochote cha kujifundisha kazi kama ile ya mashine kuchomelea na nini. Sasa ni akili yake kwa ufupi.
According to his father, Joseph Thomas Chokwe, Tyson began showing interest in automobiles and electronics at an early age. He made his first bicycle when he was only 18 years old and a Form 2 student at Mashariki Secondary School.
Kwa hivyo nilimnotice kuwa atakuja kuwa fundi. Nilimwelewa hivyo, atakuja kuwa fundi. Akweli ametoka hata na pikipiki nyingine kwa hapo ndani. Ukiona na pesa ya kawaida. Flyboy kwa hapo ndani hapo. Hata ukiona tunaona si ya kawaida. Kama wamemodify, wamejitengenezea. Maana hata kazi ya stima anafanya. Wiring. Ya nyumba mzima kama yeye anafanya na malipo. Kwa hivyo pia huko anajisaidia kupata mapato yake kidogo kujimudu.
His is a natural gift, but he wants to pursue it further by joining a technical tertiary institution in a bid to polish his craft, and is calling on well-wishers to support his ambition.
Aliomba wapate kumsaidia hata kama chuo cha ufundi, akienda apate chuo cha ufundi technical school, aweza kuongeza ujuzi zaidi, ama ataka ajiriwa kazi mahali ya ufundi kwa kampuni ya kuchomelea ama kampuni ya uhandisi aina fulani, afanya kazi. Wake kubarua sahihi hakuna. Na yeye amejitolea kufanya ile kazi. Wengine mtu mwingine kuja akasema nataka kama ile. Sitapata soko.
Na endapo tutapata usaidizi zaidi, naweza tengeneza magari ambayo itakuwa yanauzwa hapa Kenya, ila yatakuwa hata kwa bei nafuu zaidi yale yanayotoka nje. Na hapa naona kuna rasilimali nyingi au kuna vitu tukivitumia hata kwa mara ya pili inaleta maana nyingine zaidi.
Tyson is a representation of thousands of young people in the country whose potential remain untapped due to lack of opportunities, a challenge to the government to urgently come up with policies and strategies to support the youth in maximizing their potential. For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Indeed, made in Kilifi. Safin, thank you so much for that report. A family in Nyikendo village in Suna East constituency of Migori County is seeking justice following the murder of their kin. The deceased, who is a 52-year-old Eli Ochieng's body, was found lying in the compound of a woman alleged to have been his lover. These and more stories in news-making headlines in the counties.
Chris Kwenya, a brother to the deceased, claimed Ochieng was killed in the home of a woman well known to them, and despite reporting the matter, no action has been taken by security agencies. Director of Criminal Investigations in charge of Suna East, Richard Cheriot, while confirming the incident, said they are pushing leads that will lead to the arrest of the suspects.
What is surprising us today is that no arrest has been made. We personally took the suspect to the police station, and later on they were left free. So what we are demanding as a family, that justice be done.
Meanwhile, a family in Ramu town in Mandera County is crying for justice for their son, who was killed while trying to escape from jail. The family claimed that Ibrahim Hassan was shot dead by Ramu police station officers in full glare of the public. Residents, together with the family, want the concerned authorities to take swift action against all those involved in the killing.
Ni kijana, kichwa yake si mzuri, na polisi walikuwa wanafaa wajue, lakini tunahuzunika mbaya sana. Ile wazee ama ile kikao za serikali ambayo walikuwa wanafaa kulinda security ya wananchi, wanapiga watu kiholela.
Elsewhere, 2 drug peddlers have managed to escape death by a whisker after a saloon car they were using to ferry Bang was involved in an accident along Limuru, Kikuyu Road. The locals who rushed to rescue the two discovered the car was ferrying illegal substances and decided to give a tip-off to area police officers. Limuru Police Commander Eileen Mora said the investigations have kicked off in order to bring the suspects in the book.
Buti yote ilikuwa imejaa bagi na mangunia, kiti yote ya nyuma, kiti yote ya hapa kade ya dereva, yote ilikuwa ni bagi tupu.
And Kitengela residents are up in arms over deplorable old Namanga Road, faulting the contractor allocated the work for doing a shoddy job. Irate residents barricaded the road for hours, demanding the contractor to be compelled to redo the work.
Walikuja wakaleta mchanga wakamwaga huku, naye sasa vumbi kakuwa imeharibu kazi kabisa. Hata huku sasa biashara zote hazifanywi mpaka huko chini.
Sasa hii vumbi imezidi hapa sana. Tunataka walete mara mingine wamwage, wasipomwaga tutaendelea na magogo.
Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Prime Edition.
Tonight, in our weekly news feature segment, County Fact File, we cross over to the northeastern part of Kenya and take a closer look at Mandera County.
Mandera County is located in the northeastern part of Kenya. It borders Wajir, Ethiopia, and Somalia. There are 2 ecological zones in the county, namely arid and semi-arid. Up to 95% of the county is semi-arid, with dense vegetation consisting mainly of thorny shrubs and mathenge bushes along the foot of isolated hills and fallow land. The county headquarters are in Mandera. The main economic activity in the county is pastoralism, contributing approximately 72% of the total household income. Cross-border trade, artisanal mining, beekeeping and irrigation-aided agriculture are the other viable ventures. Beekeeping is gaining popularity in most parts of the county, while irrigated subsistence agriculture is practiced along the Daua River. The common breeds of livestock reared are goats, cattle, camels, sheep, donkeys, and chicken. Mandera County has a population of 867,000, according to 2019 Kenya Population and Housing Census. It has 9 sub-counties: Mandera East, Mandera West, Banisa, Mandera North, Lafey, Mandera South, Kutulo, Arabia, and Kiliwehiri, covering the county's 26,000 square kilometers. The county has 6 constituencies, including Mandera North, Mandera South, Mandera East, Mandera West, Banisa, and Lafey. The first governor of Mandera County to date is Ali Ibrahim Roba. Mandera County has 176,000 registered voters according to IEBC 2017 records.
Well, the County Fact File brings us to a second break right here on KBC Prime Edition.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We have more coming up, including business news.
Kwani wewe ndiye Leo?
Hajalishi wewe sema watakaje.
Yaani utakwambia kweli kabisa? Kama mamako alikwambia nilifariki, basi alikudanganya.
Wewe usijifananishe na Badi Maya.
Kwa sababu ya ujinga wa mume wako, mtafilisika kabisa.
Misho kwa mtu mzima. Na najua maana ya kuwa huru, lakini yeye hataki kunielewa.
Mimi si kama
mwana wa nyoka ni nyoka.
Welcome back. Let's now take a look at the latest in the world of business. My name is Carol Jenga. Now, Kenya Power says electricity supply has been restored in most parts of the country following a mid-morning outage after collapse of high voltage power. That is in an update. Kenya Power said it had restored electricity in parts of Nairobi, Western Kenya, Mount Kenya region, North Rift, South Nyanza, and Central Rift, and was working to restore power in the remaining affected areas. Mid-morning, Kenya was plunged into darkness due to collapsed towers on Kimambere Embakasi high voltage transmission power line. In a statement, Kenya Power confirmed the nationwide power outage, saying engineers were on the ground conducting repairs in a bid to restore electricity supply. Kenyans took to social media platforms to express their disappointment, with most saying businesses were incurring losses due to the power outage that occurred less than 15 hours after another one was reported on Monday evening. There had been parts of the country that were still in darkness after the electricity outage that occurred on Monday evening. Although Kenya Power says electricity supply had been restored in most parts of Nairobi, Western Kenya, Mount Kenya region, North Rift, South Nyanza, and Central Rift, the utility firm in an update said its engineers were still working to restore power in the remaining affected areas. This comes just weeks after Kenya Power was forced to ration power following the collapse of towers at Suswa, supporting transmission of high voltage power from the Turkana wind power project in Loyangalani to the Suswa substation. In May 2020, Kenya experienced a similar outage after an issue on the high voltage power line that evacuates electricity from Olkaria geothermal power plants.
Another update as well from Kenya Power. There's also a power outage affecting sections of the CBD, Embakasi, Kilimani, Hurlingham, Syokimau and Kitengela, Mlolongo, and also adjacent areas following a 220 kV Suswa Embakasi power transmission line that evacuates power from Athi River to Embakasi, which has developed a fault this evening. Making headlines tonight, the government has suspended all inbound and transit passenger flights from the United Arab Emirates for a week. In a notice to Air Missions, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority says the decision, which was effected from last night, does not affect cargo flights. Following the decision, carriers have cancelled flights and advised those who had travel tickets to only get in touch with the airlines once the suspended flights resume.
Aviation Authority has suspended passenger flights from the United Arab Emirates for a week through a notice to Air Missions. This has seen airlines from both countries announcing compliance with the new directive. Currently, there are 28 inbound and outbound flights between the two countries. Emirates, which operates 10 flights per week between Dubai and Nairobi, has advised passengers to hold on to the tickets until flights resume. In a notice to travelers on its website, Emirates said, if your flight has been cancelled or impacted by route suspension due to the COVID-19 restrictions, you don't need to call us immediately for rebooking. You can simply hold on to your Emirates ticket, and when flights resume, get in touch with us or your booking office to make new travel plans. In a notice, Emirates has cancelled flights to and from Dubai, affecting those travelling to and from Kenya and Ivory Coast, as well as Lusaka, Zambia, Harare in Zimbabwe, Abuja and Lagos in Nigeria, and Casablanca in Morocco. The decision by Kenya comes weeks after the United Arab Emirates suspended passenger flights from Kenya for a week, then indefinitely extended the suspension after the lapse of the initial suspension. Reporting for Prime Edition, my name is Ibak Said.
The World Tourism Organization has recognized Ogasile village in Kajiado County as an ideal tourism village. Residents led by Charles Leshore says investment in cultural tourism is key in revitalizing tourism activities in the sleepy village that for eons has relied on international tourists. Our reporter Regina Manyara, who is in Kajiado County, brings us the details.
Suppressed tourist inflows in recent months, blamed on COVID-19 travel restrictions, has seen tourist arrivals drastically reduced and threatened those relying on the hospitality industry as a source of livelihood. Despite this, investment in tourism continues.
Of course, the village is in the middle of Maasai land in the South Rift region of Kenya, a region that has a lot of secrets and values in terms of archaeology, paleontology, culture, heritage, and also the beautiful landscapes. And what this means to the village, as much as it has demonstrated cultural and natural diversity, then it means post-COVID, then we have to diversify these products for tourism.
Even though Kenya is renowned as a beach and safari destination, the country has been steadily diversifying tourist products. One such diversification is cultural tourism.
Now, these are the secrets because the early man had tools and also that they were using. So this is where we have the highest accumulation of hand access and artifacts of the early human being.
Efforts by residents has seen the World Tourism Organization fit Olegasaile village in Kajiado County as among the best tourism villages out of 175 entries.
In one word, it's about heritage, the prehistoric. Please come and visit where our ancestors came from.
The community is ecstatic and says this is a step in the right direction in ensuring that matters cultural tourism are embedded in Kenya's tourism portfolio. I'm Regina Manyara reporting from Olegasaile prehistoric site in Kajiado County for the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
Thank you, Regina Manyara, for that story. Now, the pileup of cargo trucks at the Malaba and Busia border post has eased following a decision by Uganda to recognize COVID-19 test results conducted in Kenya and uploaded on the regional electronic cargo and drivers tracking system. The agreement was made after EAC Ministers of Health and Transport met to resolve the stalemate following Uganda's directive that from Kenya travelers to undergo mandatory testing at border points, causing a snarl-up stretching several tens of thousands.
Uganda had introduced mandatory new COVID-19 protocols at a fee with validity of 7 days as opposed to 14 days, which was not taken kindly by truck drivers plying the northern corridor. This had led to a massive traffic snarl of cargo trucks up at the Malaba and Busia land borders, stretching several kilometers that was affecting regional trade and movement of persons. To resolve the stalemate, ministers in charge of EAC, Health and Transport met and resolved that Uganda's Ministry of Health recognized COVID-19 test results conducted in Kenya and uploaded in the regional electronic cargo and drivers tracking system. They also resolved the EAC member states adhere to the current EAC protocols. The meeting further decided that EAC health ministers will review guidelines on the 72 hours validity for tests, and no country will unilaterally adjust the validity period. All countries reaffirmed that fully vaccinated drivers will have their negative results valid for 14 days. This saw truck drivers who had blocked roads for nearly a week resume transportation of the cargo. Kenya's Deputy Ambassador to Uganda, Kennedy Mokaya, urged truck drivers with negative COVID-19 results to move on with their journey, while those with expired certificates to redo the test done.
The government decided that the drivers who have negative results for COVID-19, they are free to move. We have just been speaking to the port health officials here in Uganda, and they say that they are fully implementing that directive. I think what is in contention is, as we have said, what comes after that and what happens to the drivers whose results have expired. And I think that's where the two governments are speaking.
Partner states agreed to have a follow-up meeting this Friday to assess compliance and border congestion. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
And that is how we wrap up business and news for tonight. My name is Carol Jenga. On the other end of the studio, we have Richard Munga with the sports update. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
You okay? What's going on here? Honey.
I was telling you about...
About what? I'm doing fine.
Just fine? Fine is not good enough.
Is she in custody? Not yet, my lady.
You're under arrest.
You will learn more at the station. Now, come with us.
No, I'm not going. I haven't done anything.
They're accusing you for murder.
She killed my husband. I have children who will grow up without a father. Do you have children, huh?
That piece of paper is taking you to prison for life.
But you're not going to allow her to go to jail, are you?
Indeed, it's always an honor to have your company for KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. Now, Samburu County Government has launched the inaugural Samburu Sevens International Rugby Tournament that shall be held from the 9th to the 17th of July this year. The championship, which will attract close to 1,200 players from over 80 countries, is geared towards enhancing environmental and wildlife conservancy efforts in the county.
For the first time in history, Samburu County will host an international rugby sevens tournament that will be aimed at enhancing efforts of environmental and wildlife conservation in the county. The championship will attract participation from teams across the world and is set to run from 9th to 17th July this year.
This is going to be a first in being played out in that wilderness, and we look at it happening every year. And as the county government of Samburu, we are certainly poised to ensure that that game happens every year for as long as rugby is played in this world.
We are happy because this is going to be an extensive 9-day event, and we are going to have 80 teams participating and about 1,200 players. You can now imagine when you extrapolate the number of audience, how many they're going to be. A lot.
National teams from across the world have been challenged to use the tournament as a build-up to this year's Commonwealth Games, which will be held in Birmingham from 28th July to 8th August this year. Both local and international teams have been invited to feature in the championship. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, former WBC bantamweight champion Fatuma Zarika is hoping to make a return to the ring this year after a 14-month layoff. Zarika, who has stepped up her training in Nairobi, has set her eyes on fighting in 1 to 3 bouts this year.
The effects of COVID-19, which affected sporting activities around the world, gravely affected Kenyan boxer Fatuma Zarika, but she is now hopeful that she will get a chance to enter the ring competitively at least 3 times this year.
Kwa mwaka wacha tuseme ya kwamba maybe pigano kama 3 zinatosha, sababu hiyo ni kitu ambapo pia na wewe unajipatia time ya kuweza kurecover, kuweza kutrain na pia kuweza kushughulika pia na vitu zingine, maybe ndio uweze kurudi gym tena, sababu uwezi kuwa unapangiwa game after 1 month, unapangiwa game after hiyo ingine unapangiwa game, unaona.
The 2016 WBC bantamweight champion last competed in a professional bout in November 2020, but with many sporting activities making a return, she is hopeful she will fight at least 1 major fight if not 3 this year.
Ile nini yote nyambopo nilikuwa nayo ya kwamba ningependa kupigana na mtu fulani, nishafanya already. Nisha achieve ya kwamba niliwish kupigana na mtu fulani nikapigana naye, niliwish kuwa na WBC nikakuwa nayo, so sioni kama kuna kitu kingine yenye ambapo naweza wish niseme ati naweza kupigana na mtu fulani.
Zarika, sponsored by Sport Pesa and coached by Marvin Mboya, has had many injuries during her career, but retirement is not part of her thoughts at the moment.
Zarika alikuwa anasemanga WBC ndio mwisho yake. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa wish ya kushika WBC. Ameishika. But mimi bado namwambianga uko njaa. Hujaridhika venye unasema. Because mtu ameridhika na WBC either saizi angekuwa na train hiyo consistently. Umeona? So bado tu hiyo moto yake iko. Anaweza retain hiyo WBC belt tena, anaweza irudia ichukue. Anaweza tafuta WBO, anaweza tafuta WBA, anaweza tafuta IBF. So ni yeye tu. Na mimi na believe hizo vitu zote ni possible.
Despite her success, she is still calling on the government, sponsors and the Boxing Association to do more for Kenyan boxers to avoid the quick extinction of the sport that is fast going downhill in the country.
Mimi kivyangu siwezi penda mtoto wangu aingie boxing. Mimi kivyangu kulingana na ile ugumu yenye nimepitia kwa boxing, shida zenye nimepitia kwa boxing, singependa mtoto wangu apitie zile shida zenye mimi nimekuwa nazo kwa boxing, ama yale mambo yote yenye nimepitia kwa boxing mpaka nikafika mahali ambapo nimefika.
Barclay Feather, Prime Edition.
On to other matters now, whereby national men's volleyball team Wafalme has risen 8 positions in the latest Africa FIVB World Rankings. Wafalme, who were previously ranked 13th in the continent, now occupy position 5 in the latest Africa World Rankings. Now, the team is now ranked position 61 in the world rankings, up from position 93.
Wafalme volleyball team finished the 2021 season on position 9 in the African Championship after beating heavyweights Egypt by 3-2 but lost 3-1 against Morocco. The team has risen to the 61st position in the latest FIVB World Rankings from position 93 and up to position 5 in Africa from position 13. Tunisia men's team are ranked top in Africa, followed by Egypt and Cameroon in the second and third positions respectively.
Just beating the Egyptians, that showed a lot of the potential that we have in Kenya, and I'm happy that they have been able to do their own analysis, and now taking position number 5 in Africa is a matter of time, and we shall be number 1 or number 2 in Africa for Falme.
Malkia strikers are ranked 27th best in the world with 131 points and second best in Africa after Cameroon.
You cannot predict a game between Kenya and Cameroon, and this has always been the case. The last one they beat us, the last two we beat them. So going by the statistic, I think both the continental body and the FIVB, they have made a conclusion that we are still number 2 of Cameroon. But I can tell you for sure we shall still beat Cameroon.
USA, Brazil and China occupy the first 3 positions in the ladies' rankings, while Brazil, Poland and Russia occupy the first 3 positions respectively in the men's rankings. Frederick Muki for Channel 1 Sports.
Also, former Football Kenya Federation FKF Vice President Sami Shulei has expressed his interest in the Football Kenya Federation FKF presidency that is slated for this year in April. Shulei made the announcement during a training session for Harambee Stars legends who are preparing for 2 friendly matches against ex-Uganda national team players. The friendly matches will be played in Kampala on the 26th and 30th of this month. Shulei served as FKF Vice President under Sam Nyamoya between 2011 and 2016, although he fell out with Nyamoya and was suspended from office before the end of his term.
Hatujawahi kupewa nafasi ya uongozi. Na huo muda huo wakati ndio unakuja. Nafikiri huo wakati ni sasa. Siku zile tutapewa uongozi, tuambiwa sasa ndio hiyo. Na sisi tupewe pia tuharibu. Sababu watu wengi wamekuwa hapo tangu zamani sana wameharibu. Sisi pia tupewe, kama wanafikiria tutaharibu, tupewe na sisi tuharibu. Tukiharibu then tutajilaumu sisi wenyewe. Kwa hivyo wachezaji hajaifikiriwa Kenya hii. Hakuna mtu yote ashaifikiria wachezaji. Kuna wachezaji wengi sana huku nje ambao wamekufia hii nchi, na wengi kuna wale wako ni wagonjwa, hakuna mtu yote anawafikiria. Mpaka wakati utapata mtu labda amefariki ndio unaanza kuona watu wakijitokeza hapo wetu kumchangia na vitu kama hizo.
Pia serikali ingeweza kuwakilisha pia wachezaji wao ma-ex katika running of the football hapa Kenya. Cause tuna experience, tunajua nini mbaya, nini mzuri, wachezaji mpira inahitaji nini.
Continentally now, Kelechi Iheanacho was on target as Nigeria comfortably beat 7-time champions Egypt 1-0 in their Africa Cup of Nations Group D opener. The Pharaohs offered little response after falling behind in Garoua. In the early kick-off encounter, Algeria began the defense of their title with a goalless draw against the stubborn and spirited Sierra Leone. The draw, however, saw Algeria extend their unbeaten run to 35 senior international matches, edging closer to Italy's world record of 37 matches without a single defeat.
Long ball straight down the middle always favours the defensive side. I feel that Egypt need to try to knit more through midfield.
Well, AFCON continues as we speak. We have Sudan and Guinea-Bissau. The match kicks off, or rather is currently kicking off, and we shall be bringing you all the updates and all the results in our subsequent bulletins. Remember, the AFCON continues even tomorrow. We have Tunisia versus Mali, one of the matches people are looking forward to, and you also have Ivory Coast, 2-time African champions, taking on Equatorial Guinea. Do have a good night. I'm Richard Munga. Back to you, Tom and
Thank you so much, Munga, for that update.
it, and I hope you enjoyed your leave. Welcome back. That's how we bring it to an end. Many thanks for keeping us company right here on Prime Edition. I'm Purity Museo. Susan Thuku has been our sign language interpreter tonight. We'll see you again next week, Monday and Tuesday, God willing. Stay safe and God bless.
Thank you for watching. I'm Mboya. Good night. God bless.
De traición.
He killed my wife! Shoot him!
I want you to go to the DA's office and demand an explanation. Why did they let that darn killer walk free?
You happen to know Lucia was going away with Leonardo? Tell me, did you know she was going to bring her kids along?
Wait, hold on. Do I understand you right? Are you trying to blackmail me, Rogelio?
No.
If you don't marry me, I will tell everyone what I know. You're going to end up in jail. Think about it. The odds are stacked against you, darling.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Abantu bami ntombi yamole.
Your favorite Ekegusi station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest Kisi music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii, and its environs.
Minto FM,